Everybody wants to be wealthy. Almost nobody is willing to pay for it. And I don't mean money. Money was never the price of wealth. The price is sacrifice. Specific, uncomfortable, lonely sacrifices that most people will nod along to in a video like this, feel inspired for about an hour, and then never actually make. So before I give you a single one, answer this honestly, in your own head, right now. When was the last time you gave up something you genuinely wanted, for something you couldn't see yet? If you had to think hard about that, this video is going to sting a little. Good. Let it. Because here's what nobody selling you the dream will admit. Wealth isn't built by adding things. It's built by subtracting them. Every rich person you admire didn't just acquire their way to the top. They amputated. They cut things out of their life that the average person clings to with both hands. 7 things, specifically, and the further down this list we go, the more it's going to cost you. The first sacrifice is the easy one to say and the hardest one to live. You have to give up looking rich so that one day you can actually be rich. These are opposites. They have always been opposites. The car in the driveway, the watch on the wrist, the bag, the shoes, the constant low-grade theater of appearing successful. Every dollar that goes into looking wealthy is a dollar that can never go into becoming wealthy. And the cruelest part is that the people most desperate to look rich are almost always the ones who can least afford it. They buy the symbols of the destination instead of buying the ticket. There's research on actual millionaires that surprised even the people who ran it. The typical millionaire next door drives an unremarkable car, lives in an unremarkable house, and has spent decades being quietly underestimated by neighbors who out-earn them and outspend them into fragility. You will have to choose. Impress people now or free yourself later. You genuinely cannot do both with the same dollar. Which leads straight into the second sacrifice, because the reason people spend on appearances is other people. So the second thing you have to give up is the approval of the crowd. When you stop upgrading the car, somebody will notice. When you bring lunch instead of joining the expensive dinner for the 3rd time, somebody will comment. When you say, I can't afford that out loud, even when you technically could, somebody will look at you differently. And here's the trap most people fall into. They'd rather stay broke and accepted than become wealthy and slightly misunderstood. The pull of belonging is one of the deepest forces in human psychology, and the wealth-building path runs directly against it for years. You will look for a long stretch like you're falling behind people who are actually just spending their future. The discomfort of that is real. Most people will pay any price to avoid it. That's exactly why most people stay where they are. The third sacrifice is time, but not in the way people think. Everyone says work hard, and that's not quite it. The real sacrifice is giving up the version of your free time that produces nothing. The scroll. The binge. The endless, frictionless, beautifully designed entertainment built by some of the smartest people alive specifically to consume the hours you'd need to build anything. Nobody's coming to take those hours from you by force. That's what makes it so hard. They leak out quietly, an evening at a time, until a decade has passed and the skills you meant to learn and the thing you meant to build never happened. You don't have to give up all of it, but you have to give up enough of it that the gap starts to fill with something that compounds. And almost nobody does, because the cost is invisible and the reward is delayed, which is the exact recipe the human brain is worst at resisting. Now it gets harder, because the fourth sacrifice isn't about your habits, it's about your people. You may have to outgrow some of the relationships that feel most comfortable. Not abandon, not look down on, but outgrow. Because the conversations that built your old life often can't build your new one. If everyone around you treats money as something to be spent the moment it arrives, treats ambition as a betrayal, treats every attempt to grow as you thinking you're better than us, then staying perfectly in sync with that circle has a price. And the price is your ceiling. This one hurts more than any spreadsheet, because it touches love and loyalty and history. The honest truth is that you don't have to leave anyone behind. But you do have to be willing to be the person who's reading while they're scrolling, saving while they're spending, building while they're complaining. And being that person, inside a group that doesn't understand it, is one of the loneliest sacrifices on this entire list. The fifth sacrifice is the one nobody warns you about. You have to give up the comfort of certainty. Wealth, real wealth, is built by people who put money and time and effort into things whose outcome they cannot see. The investment that won't pay off for 30 years. The skill that won't matter for 5. The business that might fail. The market that drops 40% right after you bought in and stays down long enough to make you feel like a fool. A salary feels safe because the number is known. But the known number is also a cage, and stepping toward wealth almost always means trading some certainty for possibility. The people who can't tolerate that ambiguity grab for guarantees they cash out at the bottom. They avoid every risk. They keep everything in the account that loses to inflation quietly every year because at least it doesn't move. Safety that slowly bleeds you is still a loss. It just doesn't feel like one. Learning to sit calmly inside uncertainty is a sacrifice of your own nervous system's demand to feel safe. And it's brutal. The sixth sacrifice is instant gratification. And I know that sounds obvious, so let me make it sharp. It's not about skipping coffee. It's about the willingness to feel the discomfort of want without immediately resolving it. Every wealthy person developed, somewhere along the way, the ability to hold a desire in their hand, look at it, and put it back down. Not because they couldn't have it, because they decided the future version of themselves deserved that money more than the present version did. That single capacity to delay, to wait, to let the want pass through you without obeying it, is one of the most reliable predictors of long-term financial outcomes that exists. And it is a sacrifice every single time you do it. Not once. Not in some grand, dramatic moment. 1,000 small, boring, invisible times where you wanted something, could have had it, and chose the future instead. Most people simply will not make that trade 1,000 times. They'll make it twice and call it a personality. And then there's the seventh, which sits underneath all the others and is the one almost nobody is willing to face. You have to sacrifice your excuses. All of them. The economy, your parents, your start in life, your bad luck, your timing, the system, the people who had it easier. Some of those things are real. Some of them are genuinely unfair. None of that is the point. The point is that the moment you decide your outcome is someone else's fault, you hand them the steering wheel and you stop being able to change anything. Giving up your excuses doesn't mean pretending the obstacles aren't real. It means deciding that despite them, the responsibility is still yours. Because responsibility is the only thing that comes with any actual power attached to it. And this is the hardest sacrifice of all. Because the excuses are comfortable. They protect your ego. They let you stay exactly where you are while feeling like it isn't your doing. The day you put them down is the day it all becomes your problem to solve, which is terrifying. And which is also the exact moment you become dangerous in the best possible way. So that's the bill. Looking rich, the crowd's approval, empty time, some relationships, the comfort of certainty, instant gratification, and every last excuse. Notice what's not on that list. Money, nobody asked you to be born with it. Nobody asked you to earn 6 figures first. Every sacrifice on this list is available to a person earning almost nothing starting today. Because none of them cost money. They cost something most people guard far more tightly than money. They cost comfort. And that's really the whole secret, stripped of all the noise. Wealth is comfort, deferred. It's a long, quiet trade where you hand over the easy version of today in exchange for a freedom you have to take on faith. Most people won't make that trade, not because they can't, but because the easy version of today is right here, and it feels so reasonable every single time. So I'll leave you with the same question I opened with, except now it's heavier. Knowing the price, the real price, all 7 of these, are you actually willing to pay it? Not in theory, not in a comment. In your next ordinary, unremarkable Tuesday, when nobody's watching, and the easy choice is right there in your hand. Think about your honest answer, because that answer, not your income, is the thing that decides how this ends.